Singles versus albums. Which is better for growing a fan base? When do you release a single? When do you release an album? How do these fit together? And how do you go about growing a fan base with these two different release formats? I cover all of this and more in this video, including I'll be sharing some advice from a friend of mine who has over 4 million monthly listeners and what his approach is. So be sure to watch all the way to the end. Hi, I'm Regan Ram with Orpheus Audio Academy. And by the way, before I jump into this video, I want to share with you my free Spotify playlist placement guide. This walks you through a proven step-by-step system that a lot of indie artists are using to get their music onto a bunch of Spotify playlists and triggering the algorithm so that it promotes their music for them. So if you want help getting your music onto Spotify playlists, then be sure to grab this free guide. I have it linked in the description below, or you can go to orpheusaudioacademy.com/Spotify playlists. So with that, singles versus albums, which are better? Well, first, let's just back up and clarify what these are. What's the difference between an album and a single? Well, albums are longer than singles, with a full album usually containing around 10 to 12 songs. And then you also have what's called an EP or an extended play, a full album, an LP. LP stands for long play. So you have an EP, which is an extended play. This is basically just a shorter album, typically consisting of 3 to 6 songs. Finally, a single is typically just one song, although it can be 2 songs. Yes, 2 songs can be considered a single. So which type of release is better for growing your fan base? Singles versus albums, which is better? So there's no easy answer to this question. It really depends on what type of artist you are and where you're at in your journey. And again, referring to my friend Nico, here's what he says about singles versus albums. What's your approach, or what do you think about like EPs or albums, or where's there a place for those?
Yeah.
Or is there a place?
Yeah, so there's definitely a place for those, but it really depends where in your journey you are with your releases. If you are sitting on great tracks, I would not put them all in an album and throw out the album like that. Basically, if you have release an album, you can only give one track in that album the full potential of Spotify algorithmic push, which is the one that you select to have pitched. So I would really release singles in most cases. I personally use albums to get more music out, because I'm just saying I have like 500 projects, and like I'm sure some of them like could do well and somebody would enjoy it. So like I feel like taking some of those, putting it into a package, like finding a few of those that actually match the same vibe, and then revamp them a little bit, and I put those out as an album. Tracks that I wouldn't have released as a single otherwise, probably.
Okay.
That's just my personal thing. If you are working towards your big album, and it's gonna be like your flagship work, I think the best approach is to like waterfall it and release a track, and then release it together with the second one, and then add more and more. And then let's say you have a 10-track album, I would release maybe 6 of them as singles, and then maybe on the 6th or the 7th single of that, release it as the whole album, and add like 3 or 4 tracks to that.
Okay, that makes sense.
In terms of marketing, I will then see every track itself as a single, and basically for each track, look for 5 to 15 different creatives. Or actually, if it's an album, I'm probably gonna be a bit more lean, so look for maybe 3 to 8 clips per track. And yeah, in terms of Instagram ads, treat them all like it's their own single. So then when you're running the ads, you're not only seeing which ads are the best, but also which songs are the cheapest to promote your album. So after a while, you'll be able to tell, okay, instead of promoting each track of the album, I'm just going to promote 1 or 2 tracks out of them, and those get
What? I don't know how that happened.
I also don't know what. Anyways,
I didn't click on anything.
Well, sometimes
I've not seen that before.
Anyways, no. Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah. The thumbs up. Okay.
That's basically how you. How I promote the album. So you see which track gets the listener into your album at the lowest cost.
All right, cool. So yeah, so that's exciting. So basically, singles are the best way to grow, but if you just want to get, you just have a lot of music you want to release, or you want to grow your catalog more quickly, put out an album, or maybe if you've already built up a listenership and you want to kind of have a bigger thing to kind of put out for your fans, that's kind of the place for albums. But then when you go to promote each song on that album like it's a single.
Yeah, I think it's more when you're established to focus on albums. I think especially in the beginning, I would do singles, and as you get bigger and there's more people waiting for a release of yours, then an album makes more sense.
I mean, you could even release 12 singles and then, or 10 singles, and then you just collect them into an album later, right? You could just release an album. It's all the same songs, but maybe you add like one song or something, but then you collect it as an album. So it's like a re-release, and it's also re-promoting all those songs. So you could even do it that way.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, before we get to the rest of the video, I just want to say this video is sponsored by Lander, and I'm going to share with you an awesome tool that can really help you in your music career and your music production, and that is their Lander Studio subscription, which is absolutely amazing. It's an all-in-one tool that gives you everything you need to create, release, and promote your music. You get samples, you get plugins. They also got awesome tools to make collaboration easily, and Lander's also a distributor as well, and they have some of the best tools for distribution. They also have tons of online music courses as well. I highly recommend Lander Studio. You can get 20% off your first year when you use my link. Just click in the description below or go to orpheusaudioacademy.com/Lander. With that, let's get back to the video. So to summarize all that, singles are better for when you want to grow a fan base, you're just getting started, you're just getting your music out there, and you want to build up an audience. And then albums are better for once you're more established, you already have an audience, and then you want to put out something that will satisfy them and is also something that is more monetizable. So that's something that Nico didn't really cover, but I wanted to cover in the rest of this video, is that with albums, these are things you can actually make money off of. And yes, you might think, people don't buy music anymore, and maybe that is generally true, but your super fans are going to be wanting to buy your music. There are collector fans out there that are going to want to buy just about everything you put out. These are known as super fans. So if you're putting out CDs or vinyls or something, even tape cassettes, that's something that's big in the kind of the retro synth genre, is now people are releasing music on tape cassettes. I actually interviewed an artist, Dream Kid, recently, and he talks about how he has put out some albums, and if you go to his shop, you can see that he has actually tape cassettes for sale. So here we can see his link tree, and we can go purchase CDs, cassettes, and vinyl. So did you ever think tape cassettes would be back? But indeed they are right here. And I've seen other artists just absolutely selling these out. So people do still buy physical music, especially when they are super fans of a particular artist after you've built up a following and established yourself. But going back to this artist here, Leah, you can see she has all her physical music here, right? People are going to buy, say this LP here, it's a vinyl, they're not going to buy a single. So here, and you can see there's a pretty decent price tag there, so you can actually make some money from your music as well when you're selling this physical music. And of course, there's all kinds of other ways to monetize and create products around your album that you can use as part of a big album launch. So you can see if we just go to Leah merch, you can see all the different products here: candles, mugs, blankets, and so on, right? These can all be related to your album. So you can kind of create a big movement or moment around your album launch when you go to release your album. And so that is where it can be a good idea to have an album, but you already have to have that audience in place. You have to build up a following on streaming platforms, and even better, your email list. Definitely have an email list if you don't have one, because when you do have this album launch go out, you can be, first of all, teasing it, letting people know about it's coming up. You can't do that for people that just follow you on Spotify, but if they're on your email list, you can be following up with them, letting them know, hey, I have this big album launch coming, and then promote it to them once it goes live. So that's albums, but here are some more reasons why you might want to stick with singles starting out. Singles are also less risk, because if you release, an entire album and it doesn't do well, you're kind of stuck with a bunch of unsold CDs if you are ordering those in bulk, or a bunch of songs that never get the attention that they deserve. So if you release a single and it flops, there's no big deal, because you can just have another single come out in the next 4 to 6 weeks or so. Another reason is singles take less time. If you're doing music on the side, right, it's not your full-time job and you have limited time, it's hard to really put in the work to put together a full album. Meanwhile, you have no music going out, no new music going out. You're not building a fan base. So you can really keep up that momentum going by releasing singles because they take less time to put out. So in the end, singles allow you to put out more music faster, so they're just a better marketing tool because this enables you always to have something new to promote to your fans and to new potential fans. So if you haven't already built an established fan base or making a full-time income from your music, then you should probably be focusing on singles for the most part right now. So then that brings up the question, how frequently should you be releasing singles? Well, that's what I answer in detail in my video on the screen right now. So go ahead and click that video and I'll see you over there.